The appointments are lined up.
You waiting for somebody in there?
Got an appointment.
And it's not about what you want to hear, but what you need to hear.
It's not personal. It's strictly business. It's time you and me had a private talk, Winger. Step into my office.
It's Step Into My Office with Michael Lombardi. Mr. Lombardi, we'll see you now.
What would a step into my office be without needing to address something about the New York Jets? So Woody Johnson is stepping into the office today, Michael, after Aaron Rodgers tore his Achilles that opening series of Week 1. Zach Wilson and Tim Boyle have combined for 7 passing touchdowns and 10 interceptions. They have 4 straight games where they have lost by a combined 72 points. Now the question is, as Woody Johnson steps in, do Saleh and Douglas get a mulligan for this Aaron Rodgers-less season, or is it time this offseason to have a complete leadership reset? How do you think that this should be played out?
Well, Mr. Johnson, I think you've got a tough decision on your hands because it's easy to say, let's just bring it all back. This was just an anomaly. The guy got hurt. We would have won the Super Bowl. Because remember, you didn't really have to practice this offseason because your head coach, Robert Saleh, said you had it all under control. So are you going to run it back? Let's say you run it back. And let's say it's not as good as everybody thinks it is. Let's say you don't win a Super Bowl. Let's say you're 10-7 and you lose the wild card round. Where are you going then? What are you doing then? Where are we headed? What's in store for your team? I think that's the biggest concern you have to have. And so for me, you've got to make a short and long term. Are you sure you have the right coach? Let me just say this to you. When Robert Saleh sent out Tim Boyle at the end of the half to throw the Hail Mary pass, and it was intercepted for a touchdown, unheard of in the annals of American football, I looked at my phone. And you say, why would you look at your phone? Well, I looked at my phone because I thought Al Davis was going to call me. Why would Al Davis call you? He's been dead for almost 10 years. Well, because he would have said to me when that play happened, did he practice the Hail Mary this week? Because I missed it. And I would have answered, Mr. Davis, no, we never practiced the Hail Mary with Tim Boyle throwing the ball. Then he would have said to me, did he, the head coach, know that Tim Boyle couldn't throw it into the end zone? My answer would have been, I doubt he knew that, Mr. Davis. The phone would have clicked, and Robert Saleh would have been fired immediately after that, not even come out at halftime. So you've got to make that decision. Are you sure you have the right guy for the job? Are you sure? Now, he does a wonderful Colgate commercial, and his teeth are clean. But are you sure 2 years from now you want him to be your head coach? Because if that's the case, then you become a prisoner to Aaron Rodgers like everybody else.
Quote of the year after that unbelievable play. That was unfortunate. Was it, Robert Saleh? Was it? Well done. Let's go to a little college football here, Michael, because Ryan Day and Ohio State lost their 3rd straight in the rivalry series, The Game, with Michigan. 30-24, they fall. And this time it's with an interim head coach, Sharon Moore, and Jim Harbaugh sidelined for that final game of his suspension. As a head coach at Ohio State, Ryan Day has a 39-3 record against Big Ten opponents, but he is 1-3 in The Game. Day admitted after the game he felt sick. They came up short. What does he need to hear after another disappointing finish to the season?
Well, keep doing what you're doing, Ryan. You get to the Final Four every time this way. You play one less game. I mean, why not just keep doing what you're doing? I mean, you did it last year. It worked. It probably worked for you this year. How are they going to keep you out of it with one loss? There's no way they're going to keep you out of it. Here's the issue, though. Here is the issue. That guy down in Orlando, Florida, that you said was criticizing your team's right. I mean, anytime you can't get the ball back with 7 minutes to go in the game, that tells you something about your team. Are you sure you're good enough? Are you sure you can stop the run when you know the other team's going to run the ball? I think that's a big question. And I don't think you can do that. So my sense of this is you've got to be able to rebuild your team with a little bit more toughness and a little bit more of the ability to take over the game instead of having them take over the game. But right now, you're going to get lured into the same trap you got lured in last year because you're going to make it to the Final Four because you're going to watch the tournament. Iowa's going to lose by 35. Michigan's going to go. Washington probably loses to Oregon. Does Florida State win? I don't know. Will they let Florida State in even if they have one loss? You'll probably get in. What do you think, Stormy?
I am still on the fence about whether or not I want mayhem coming up. Like, do I want Alabama to upset Georgia and see what the committee has to do? There's a lot of other elements here. I don't know. I mean, Ohio State still obviously has a huge chance. I don't know if chaos ensues, how things could play out. Let's go back to the NFL here, Michael, because the Lions lost in stunning fashion on Thursday for Thanksgiving. Everybody and their mom and survivor was on this Detroit team, and instead, it is another game that they come up short and now have lost their 6th straight on Thanksgiving. The last 2 games for Jared Goff, Michael, he's been a turnover machine, 3 interceptions and 3 fumbles. If Jared Goff steps into the office, what does he need to do to get this team back on track and return Detroit to contention in the NFC?
Look, the thing is, you just got to keep reminding your offensive line you need protection. Don't play outside your comfort zone. Make sure you don't do – you've done a great job most of your career of not turning this ball over. You need to stop thinking you're in the MVP race and start believing you just want to win games. Just manage the game. Don't play outside your comfort zone. Just manage the game and handle the game the way you want to handle it, and don't turn the ball over. Punting's not a bad play, but you're going to have to rely on the run. You're going to have to rely on the play-action pass. And your offensive line, which typically plays really well, on Thanksgiving Day did not play very good. And I think that's the biggest concern. So you got to get them. You got to do whatever you can do to get them to play better.
Another week where the Chargers chargered. Justin Herbert's coming into the office. He sits down at the desk, Michael, after only putting up 10 points this past week. He also tacked on an interception and a key fourth quarter fumble. What does Herbert need to improve on to reach his full potential in LA? I know they thought when Kellen Moore came over that everything would change.
Yeah, I mean, look, at some point you're going to have to go in there and say, we need to be more physical, because we can't control the line of scrimmage when it matters the most. I mean, we're lucky we didn't get called for an intentional grounding late in the game yesterday like we did against the Miami Dolphins. I mean, it was almost deja vu all over again. So I think there's a problem with the offense, and we can't rely on just one player or 2 players. I mean, the reality of it is we've got to be able to play left-handed, and they're making us play left-handed. They're taking Keenan Allen away, and we have no power in our run game. I've been saying this to you for 2 years. There's just not enough physicality to the team to be able to go in there and take the game over when you need to and play. Sometimes you become a hindrance to the team because you're so good, it's so easy for you to throw the ball that you get away from doing the things you need to do.
A couple real whiffs on some of those sideline passes. I was very confused. But yeah, I mean, obviously we know how talented this team is on paper. It's unfortunate they haven't been able to do what we feel like they're capable of. Back to college football, a team nowhere near the CFP conversation, but would like to get back in it down the line one day with Hugh Freeze as their head coach. In his first season at Auburn, they go 6-6, far below expectations that alumni obviously has for the program. And all would have been forgiven had they pulled off the win against the Tide at Jordan-Hare Stadium in the Iron Bowl. But instead, leading by 4 points with 32 seconds left, Alabama scores a miraculous touchdown in the back of the end zone. Does Freeze deserve blame for the end of the Iron Bowl? And can he return Auburn to glory? What are you saying to him?
I would say to him, look, I think we all make mistakes. And certainly, everybody wants to blame somebody for a play that gone bad. I think situationally, you can go over this with your team and with your staff. Tackle, if you're any doubt that the ball is going to get completed, just tackle the receiver. In college football, it's a 15-yard penalty. They would have had another chance at it, but you've got to be able to make sure they don't score on that play. So tackle the receiver. Do whatever you have to do to make sure that the throw doesn't get completed. And learn from it. And make sure you understand, as Nick Saban said after the game, they go over that situation. You got to ask yourself the honest question, have you gone over that situation? Because you probably haven't.
Michael, you know how we talk about all the time, like never celebrate too early, whether it's a game, a bet, anything? There's a video that went viral of an Auburn fan girl videoing herself ready to get the celebration of when they won the Iron Bowl and upset Alabama. And that excitement turned to, oh my God, what the hell just happened so fast? Yeah. And that's why you don't celebrate too early. Never get ahead of yourself. Yep. Never get ahead of your skates.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.